working on my 2015 Raptor, and what are we going to do?
It's a 16.
Oops. Start over. Hey guys, so we're going to be working on my 2016 Raptor 700, and what are we going to do?
We're going to put different bars on it with risers. We're going to relocate the key. While we're at it, we're going to delete this parking brake because it keeps dragging, and we're going to put a case saver on it, which is the most important thing you should do to a quad, because if you break your chain, there goes your case.
I'm most excited about my bars. Fat bars.
I'm most excited about the easiest thing to do, which is that DRW case saver, the best in the market.
Stay tuned. Guys, Das Wagon has been turned into a parts workbench. Mark, you want to show everybody what we got?
Best from China.
Only the best.
Risers, which, I mean, you don't get hardcore enough for it to break, so Chinese is good. Cheaper.
I think those costed, I don't remember how much those were, like 20 some dollars, I think, on eBay.
Parking brake delete, brake.
That's
So,
made by 757. I think they also got that on eBay.
they're all built at the same Chinese factory with their own name they put on it, but it's billet, it's got an O-ring, it's good enough.
Pretty cheap too.
Here's the DRW case saver.
That was not super cheap, but
They're
well worth the
it. These are the
well
best.
worth the price.
These are the best because they actually protect your case from breaking.
And I don't remember what I paid for that, but I could put it in the
about $60.
yeah, about
something
60
like
maybe.
That. But it's cheaper.
Definitely
than,
well worth it.
Cheaper than breaking your case. New grips. pillow
Love
top,
those.
New burrs.
Yes.
So we're gonna take the bars off first. So you gotta remove your electronic, your ignition killer headlight switch. You gotta remove your clutch perch, but that's all easy stuff. Your brake lever perch and your thumb throttle. You get all easy stuff. Don't worry about taking off the old grips unless you want to reuse them, which is probably gonna be hard if you want to remove them because they're gonna tear or break. And not only that, stock grips suck.
They suck.
And then you got a nut over here, plastic nut for your key. And there's, I believe they're either 10 millimeter or they might be 8 millimeter that hold the bars. And then they just come right off. These guys you can leave hanging off the side. Brake fluid shouldn't leak out unless your master cylinder cover's loose or something. But if it's leaking, then you got a problem somewhere else. So, all right, we're gonna get to work doing that. So you need a screwdriver, Phillips, to remove the electronics. There's 2 screws underneath. Same thing for the thumb throttle. There's two screws underneath, and that comes right off. Remember, put your screws back in. 8 millimeter bolts for the clutch and the brake, and then we're going to remove this plastic right here. Plastic deal for the key, and we're going to pop this plastic cover off, and that'll expose your bolts that hold your bars to your risers. And it's pretty much straightforward deal. It's pretty easy, quick job. Unless you're filming, then it takes 3 hours, right? So loosening these, you can kind of turn this and help yourself. And try not to drop your screws. I'm sure I'll do that plenty.
Or you can give them to your helper.
That works. And the way I like to do it is I'll take this guy off. Hang on.
I'm your helper and you're taking the screws.
So I'll take this guy off. Well, I'm going to put the screws back in it.
Oh, clever.
So it holds it.
And smart.
And we don't lose them. That's what you should do. Because if you are unorganized like we are in this garage with all the projects and cars and motorcycles and ATVs and everything else, they'll get lost. So I'm working on this side, then I move to the other side. But yeah, you put your screws back in it. Oops, see? I told you.
Butterfingers.
Then just lay it, let it lay. I mean, it's not gonna hurt anything. You also have these removable, reusable zip ties. See, that holds your electronics, your cables to the bars.
So we can reuse those?
We're gonna, yeah, we can. Yeah, it's probably cleaner than using zip ties.
So how do we take those off?
They just pop right off. Here.
Are we gonna do it now?
I can.
Let's do it right now.
Let's put my tools here so we don't drop them. Probably should be using better tools for it.
Probably.
there's the other one. So we're taking the clutch perch off on the parking brake. We're gonna undo this when we're done and feed this cable from the back, which is at the back caliper, out because my lovely wife doesn't want it. So we're gonna get rid of it. 8mm bolts that hold the perch on this Raptor. I believe they're, I don't know, I think maybe the Banshee might be 10 because the Banshee's better. Way, way better.
I'm disregarding that.
No, I'm not giving that to you. I'm just gonna pop it right back in here. And hopefully not.
Oh, you're tricking me again like you did the last time.
Maybe.
Well, I have my hand out
Well, I
for
don't want to lose it.
you to have that
And
one.
it's easier because then you don't have to figure if this bolt came from this side or if it came from somewhere else. All right. So that's that. We'll just let it hang. This is all cable, so it's not gonna break. We'll take our plastic doohickey off our ignition. Sometimes you gotta break these loose, but they're not on there very tight. This was hand tight. We're gonna get rid of this plastic deal because you got a fancy bar paid. So there's that. I'm gonna
Ooh,
put
it's
this
dirty
guy
under
back
there.
on here. Well, of course it's dirty. I've been wheeling this thing like crazy.
That I have.
So I believe this just pops off like that. And your fuel vent. Should
I
get
should get a new fuel cap,
should
shouldn't
get a
I?
nicer fuel cap. But yeah, these will be, look like 12mm bolts that hold this guy. But say goodbye to this guy. It's,
Bye.
I guess it serves its purpose for stock, but they look so much better without them. Especially when you guys
They
see
do.
when we put the risers on.
Yes.
It's gonna be awesome. So let's work on the other side. So we come over here to the front brake side, master cylinder. I'm just gonna make sure that these are tight.
That's a good plan.
Oh yeah, there you go. They're a little loose, but I don't think it would have leaked because they're O-ringed and it's brake fluid. You don't want brake fluid leaking on your plastics or your paint. If you don't wipe it up, that crap will eat through your plastics and your paint. You know, pretty bad.
Quicker than a fat kid on pizza day.
Yeah. I can't give you an exact timeline how quickly, but if you leave it overnight, you're gonna come back with most likely a melted piece of plastic or disfigured or crapped, whatever you want to call it. So we're going to take these 8mm off. And we also have these here, the Yamaha zip ties, as my wife says. Yamaha.
Yamaha. I say Yamaha.
She's from Washington, so she pronounces her A's funny.
Yamaha.
Yamaha. She only says babe funny, but I always give her crap because that's what good husbands do.
So you say.
So I say. But even though you don't say it this way, I always like every single time I see a Saab go by, I figure my wife's going to call it a Sabe. You jerk. That's what you're thinking. All right, so I'm going to remove this guy. Let me set my ratchet down somewhere where it's safe, where I feel it's safe, but it's probably going to fall anyway. Your cable's over here, so be careful not to drop your bolt in the crack of your garage where you'll never see it again, because that's how it works. It falls into the great hole or great abyss, and you'll never see it again. Do you have the other one?
No.
Oh, I set it over there. There, this one's a little stuck. But, see, these are marked. That's cool on these Raptors. You got a little spot for them. And it's also, I guess they marked this as the bottom when they assembled it. Give me the bolt.
Because that's really hard to tell which direction it goes,
Yeah.
right?
Sometimes, it's like rod bearings, man. You put a rod cap on backwards, it's going to be tight, and you're going to be like, what the crap? So this is similar. It could be off, but I mean, it's not to the point like a rod bearing where you got to worry about tolerances so you're going to blow your engine out. But it's similar.
I feel like we should have our garage door closed.
No, people like hearing all the fancy cars going by. This fancy, easy to use thumb throttle because this bike's fuel injected. Unlike this beast of a machine behind you there. These are also Phillips head screws. I'm gonna pull them out, loosen them up. These look like have a lock washer on them, so you wanna be careful not to lose it. Here you go. Show the lock washer. Probably don't want to lose it. Those are good to have. Oh, this guy was loose. Oh, this is fancy schmancy. Was this brake perch on this? Yeah, it was. We're gonna reuse this.
Nice.
Because this guy, it was sitting on that, I believe.
It was.
So yeah, if you see Yamaha, or I imagine other bikes, quads, people, whatever, they will use these little spacers on the bars for your throttle or whatnot. The other side didn't have it. This side has it. So we might have to reuse it just depending on how thick those bars are. If they don't work, what I like to do, like on my Banshee, I'll just wrap some electrical tape on here and it'll work too. It'll keep it from sliding, or, you know, grip it if this is too thick, so we can always do that. But we'll definitely be trying to put that back on if we have to.
I really should have got a better fuel cap.
Yeah, that's all right. So we're gonna lay this guy off to the side with their master. So next off, we're gonna take the bars off, 12 millimeter, 4 bolts, and just put it down. It's not usually too tight. This is aluminum, so. These clamps have these little teeth marks, whatever you wanna call them, and they keep these from slipping, so these don't never have to be like so tight that you can't break them loose. I mean, it requires a little effort, but nothing crazy. Oof. You can just write it like that. Holy crap, it looks like a bowl.
It does look like a bowl.
It looks like a bowl, man. It's a bowl Raptor. It's badass. You can lean over and you can, it'd be like riding a crotch rocket. Try it. Well, here's your Pro Taper bars, stock bars. There's a little more flex in these too. They're just better bars, better grip, in my opinion. I mean, probably more aesthetics fitting, but they're wider. So wider is better, as the Pontiac Grand Prix commercials used to tell us back in the day.
I think every Pontiac commercial used to tell us that back in the day.
Wide track, yes they did. We're not affiliated with Pontiac, do not sue us.
We own Pontiacs,
We
though.
own Pontiacs though, we love Pontiacs.
Those are so pretty.
They're nice.
Let me see those. Those are beautiful.
The nicest thing that ever came out of China, that's for sure.
They're gonna look great on the bike. I cannot wait.
So the bolts are out, and these guys, see there's two sets of holes. This is your threaded hole for the top of the riser for the clamp, and then here's your bottom, which goes through there, and just.
It also has a little thingy.
Yeah, it also has a little deal where it fits in here that tells you how it goes. You can't put it this way. I mean, I guess you could, but it won't bolt on right, because the bolt holes won't line up. So it's gotta go like that. And then you get a couple your supplied bolts that come with the kit. Snug them up. Not too tight. You don't want to go through the stripping process of these. I call that good enough. Alright, so now you can install our bars. You have a bar pad, take the Velcro off of it, remove it, because you won't be able to use it. Well, no, you won't be able to use it, but you can't. It'd be a pain in the ass for you to put your bars on with the bar pad. So you got your little measurements here. See, it's kind of aligned with the edges of the bars. Maybe not that great, but just try to eyeball it a little bit. Now we're gonna go ahead and put these suckers on.
What are the measurements for?
They're to calibrate your bars. See, you got holes in these guys, so you can kind of tell. adjust, not calibrate. This isn't Europe.
So it's like to line them up.
Yes.
Make sure they're level.
Basically, yes. But you should sit on them before we tighten them down and see if what position you like to ride in the best.
Okay.
Let me tighten.
All right. So this is like to adjust like what angle I like. Right?
Yes. You're the one going to be riding it, so you figure out how you want these bars. So now I like to put the grips on. Reason being is it gives me a reference point on where I need to put my levers without being too far spaced off. And I like to use Pro Taper grip glue. And I'm getting it right now. Those bars look sick.
These bars are sick.
Pro Taper grip glue, best stuff. You gotta work quick with it though and slide your grips on. Make sure your hands are clean for this, or your wife's gonna
Do
bitch
not
you
make
out.
my grips yucky.
Let me wipe my hands on my pants. Pull the grips out.
So I like to use these Pro Taper pillow tops because they're as close to as riding with pillows on your hands as you can get on a dirt bike.
They're pretty comfortable, yes. They're soft and they got a nice texture where they're grippy enough, but they're still soft enough. The way I like to do it, and I'm sure everybody has their way, is I take my grip glue, I put it down in there and just let it go down. It doesn't need a lot. Just, go around once or twice, squirt it down in there a little bit. Put your cap back on, set your grip glue so you don't spill it. Let the glue run down there a little bit. And make sure you get the excess off so it doesn't dry on you. And you get it on here real quick. You jam it on and you work it real quick. This grip is already drying. If you keep it moving, it usually won't dry. If you don't keep it moving, it'll not dry. This side was harder because it had these.
It was textured.
It was textured. Well, this will clean off. It's just my skin. Get it on there all the way. So that's good. This will stick. It's not going anywhere. Yeah, this will clean off some spray. You know what I like to use for cleaning? Ether. It works wonders. Starting fluid, diesel candy. Good shit. Excuse my language. This will come off.
No way.
Yes, it will. Well, you can't, it's my skin. What do you want me to do?
Can I put your skin on my bars?
It's good to me. And then just jam it on there. How you can hear it. It's working its way. Oh yeah, this guy needs to. This guy's gonna dry on there, nice and tight.
Just like you like it.
That's done. We're gonna go ahead and start putting our crap back on. That's why I like to put the grips on, to get a good reference point of where this stuff needs to go back. As you put this back on, and you put your grips on after, and you gotta slide it, and it's just, that's a pain in the ass. So just put your grips on. One important thing, tighten these brake purchase. This is all cast aluminum. You want to be careful with it. Don't overdo it. Tighten one side, then move up. You want this to be obviously not loose. It's your brake. It's your front brake. That's not gonna move. But you don't want this to You don't want to over tighten this, so you can crack it easily, and then you got to buy a new brake perch, and that sucks. Because this is probably not, well, you can probably buy the back if you crack it, but if you crack it here, you got to buy a whole new master cylinder and everything. So I like this position. It's pretty good with your thumb throttle. Nice. So when you tighten on the clutch perch, it's the same as the brake. This is cast. You don't want to break it. Just, you know, get it tight, get it to the position where you like it, or where it's, you know, within reach, perfect reach, and then hold your ratchet right here. Don't hold it down here. Let me turn it right here. Hold your ratchet over here.
Does that apply less force?
Yes, and I use an extension that takes some torque away too, because you don't want to over tighten this. When it starts getting snug, and again, alternate between bolts, like so. I mean, the smart thing to do would be to use some Loctite on it, but I never have a problem with it. That's good enough. You don't, you know, snug them up, hand tight. They're not gonna back out, and if they do back out, put some Loctite on it. I usually don't have that problem. I don't use Loctite on it on these things, but if this gets loose, you can just tighten it back up. It's not that big of a deal. But again, critical that you don't break that, because then you got to replace the whole thing.
So for a final step, it's time to put the bar pad on. So that's kind of a personal choice. If you like it without, you don't need to put it on. But if you want to have it on, it's super easy. I'm just gonna kind of fish that through. I really should have got a different fuel cap. There we go. We have fat bars. I like them. You like them?
Let's go try them out.
Yeah, we're gonna go try them out. So stay tuned for the rest of this series, where we're going to do the case saver, the ignition, relocation. What else are we doing? Brake delete.
And we're gonna wash the bikes.
Oh yeah, and wash this bike. Thanks for watching us.
Like and subscribe.